Well, hi everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Mary Beth Knowles, and I am your Pampered Chef consultant for this party. And actually, this is not my kitchen; it is my mother's kitchen. But either way, I'm so happy to be able to bring this recipe to you tonight. This is a super easy, fast recipe that you can throw together when you just need something quick to take to maybe a gathering at your work or at your church or just a special event, or you get that phone call that someone's going to drop by later. Literally, this takes maybe 10 minutes to put together, plus the time in the oven, plus the time it takes you to run to the store, buy a can of crescent rolls, because it is that simple. In fact, I would encourage you to just keep crescent rolls in your fridge this season so you can throw this recipe together on a moment's notice. It would be a very smart plan, in my opinion. I know that's what I'm going to be doing. So it calls for 2 cans of crescent rolls, and we're going to roll them out. And I'm going to give you some of the tips I have learned as I've made this in the past. And the number one is the recipe, which I will post, calls to roll it on a pastry mat. And because I'm at my mother's, I don't have my pastry mat. So I'm using this cutting board. And because of that, the dough wants to stick. So you want to make sure you flour the surface. I am using our large groove board. I love this board for rolling out dough. It's fantastic for things like rolling out sugar cookie dough and gingerbread cookie dough or anything you're rolling out and using cookie cutters on. It has a groove on the other side that'll hold up to 3/4 of a cup of liquid. So you can flip it over and carve the roast beef on the other side. It's just super handy and it's dishwasher safe. So I've got this rolled out. We're going to use, this is the old single-handed rolling pin. We now sell it, gosh, this is easily 20 plus years old because we started making it dishwasher safe a long time ago. But my mom has a lot of vintage Pampered Chef in her house. And this is one of them, I'm totally forgetting the name of it. Anyway, it is the roller. And we're going to roll this out. And again, because this is wood, I'm actually adding a little bit of flour to it. But the second thing I want to make sure to tell you about is to be sure that you roll it out and that you get the seams pressed together really well. Because when we roll this up, especially the center seam of your crescent rolls, it's going to want to come undone. So the better you can get that kind of rolled together. This is called the baker's roller. Boy, I was having one of those moments of all of a sudden I couldn't remember the name of my own tool. Use the smaller end of your baker's roller if you have one. Just make sure you've got that center seam really rolled down tight so that it doesn't fall apart as you are rolling this up. And this little guy comes in super handy for smoothing out those little seams. It also is actually designed so when you've got your pie crust in the pie plate, you can roll it up the side of your pie plate. And hey, I just want to throw out there is no shame in buying refrigerated pie crust. If that's the only way you're going to get a pie made, buy the crust. Don't worry about making your grandmother's special recipe unless you have the time. If it's going to stress you out, it's not worth it. Just buy the refrigerated crust. You'll still love the baker's roller for getting it into the pie plate. Okay, so we have our dough rolled out. We've got some cinnamon sugar. Again, if I were home, I would be using my flour sugar shaker because that thing is so spiffy, but I'm not. And I know my mom has one somewhere, but a lot of things have been misplaced over the last few years. So I am just doing it with a spoon. So we just got some cinnamon sugar, and you know what? I did it a second time. I did it on the first roll. I did it on this one. Ideally, you will have brushed this with some butter before you sprinkle it with the cinnamon sugar. I'm going to go ahead and drizzle the butter on top because it does add some flavor and kind of helps with that as it bakes up. So this is why we're called the Pampered Chef. We are certainly not the perfect chefs. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll just add that to the number of recipes I have screwed up over the years. Okay, it's all going to taste great in the end. Then we're going to take it from the narrow end and we're going to just roll it tightly up. And it's actually pretty simple to roll. The only thing is, again, you just kind of want to watch out for that center seam on the crescent rolls. Oh, this one is doing much better. My first attempt did not go so well. Okay, so we've rolled it up. You see here where I didn't roll that very tight, so there's a little bit of it's kind of oozing through. No big deal, but the tighter you can get those, the easier this turns out in the end. It's just easier to work with. Okay, so we're going to kind of pinch these shut as best we can, and then we need to cut this into 16 little discs. Now, I learned a long time ago, if you try to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it does not work very well. So if you need 16, you're going to cut it in half, and each half is going to give you 8. So you cut each of those in half, and each of those pieces will give you 4. So you cut each of those in half, and then cut those in half. Now you have, 16 little discs that are relatively the same width. So just cut, to get 16, you cut the log in half. To get 8, you cut that log in half. You take one of those sections and cut it in half to get 4. You cut each of those sections in half to get 2. And there you have it. All right, so we have 10 of them already started on the plate. And then we're just going to make a second circle. And this is actually on our super popular white round stone. This thing is our most popular baking stone next to the large bar pan. And for good reason. You can do your pizza on it, you can bake your cookies on it, and it's really pretty. So these were from the first batch, because again, each of these is gonna make 16, and then we're just gonna place them evenly. And if you notice, I'm leaving a little space from this one to the next one. And the other thing I wanna recommend is these end pieces that are kind of funky looking, put them on upside down. If you put them on upside down, they won't look so funny, and they'll match the rest of the wreath a little bit better. So again, we're actually doing 21 around. So you want to kind of eyeball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I probably have them a little too close together, but we'll just spread these out a little bit. Now, I don't know that mine's going to be Pinterest perfect. Don't worry if yours isn't, because all anybody really cares about is how good it tastes. But we try to give it our best, right? And it's just really kind of fun to put together something like this that didn't take a whole lot of time and prep work. We're going to bake it in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes. I do strongly recommend that you have a good pair of pot holders when you're working with stoneware or anything going in and out of the oven. These are, again, old, vintage Pampered Chef pot holders, but our new ones, the silicone line that have the flannel lining, oh, they are the bomb. These are nice. The silicone ones are really nice. We're gonna pop this in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes. Actually, I think what I'll do is I will pick up the video when it comes out of the oven.